Hello, this is Dr. Sam McGinnis here, and we're going to talk about why do we get sick, which is a very interesting topic that I really like to talk about because a lot of people have some misconceptions that I like to clear up here. So to understand this, we have to talk a little bit about the germ theory, and Louis Pasteur has been accredited with as the father of the modern germ theory. And basically, the germ theory states that disease is caused primarily by pathogens or germs, which is a term that I don't really like to use because it's too generic. But all these things, such as bacteria, viruses, microbes, and amoebas. And this theory it's accurate, but it's only part of the story, so to speak. Bacteria and viruses will damage the body if left unchecked, but we have to keep into consideration that these organisms, a lot of them live in a symbiotic relationship with the human body and therefore are very, very important for normal function within the human body. For instance, E. coli is very important to be inside your colon, but it becomes a problem if it enters your mouth or your stomach. It can get you very sick. This is also true for a lot of different bacteria that lives on your skin if it enters into your body. And your immune system doesn't know how to handle it correctly or is unable to handle it correctly, which is a lot of times the case. There is a reason why we have a flu season and not flu year. And there is also a very interesting reason why we have a flu season primarily in the north or areas where we don't get as much sunlight. And that has to do with our lifestyle more than it does have to do with whether we get exposed to the actual flu virus. It's not like the flu virus just decides to wake up during the months of December and February and infect a bunch of people. It's that when we get exposed to it during those months, we are less likely to adapt, and our immune systems are most of the time compromised due to several different factors. If we think about December, we think about stress, Christmas season, lots of candy, lots of sugar. We get outside less, we get less sun exposure, we spend more times indoors, we have less fresh air, we spend more time in close proximity with other people. And this is a perfect environment to start compromising the immune system, especially with less exposure to sunlight, because that affects our vitamin D levels. And it's interesting because vitamin D plays a very important part with the immune system and the immune function. That our vitamin D levels will start depleting around the months of December if we start getting our snow back in the end of November and we spend less time outside like we usually do in a normal year. We spend less time out inside around the end of October, beginning of November, and we have only about a month's store of vitamin D in our system. So unless we are supplementing it, we will be depleted by the time we get into December, January, which is conveniently when the flu season hits. So our immune system plays a very important part in the ability for us to adapt and to fight off these pathogens that are literally on us and in us at all times. So a perfect example of this is the polio virus. Now, not too many people are aware that majority of the people that were infected with the polio virus were asymptomatic, which means they did not experience any symptoms whatsoever. And a large part of that group that was infected, that did experience symptoms, had very, very mild symptoms, such as a very light fever or a sore throat, something that only lasted a couple days, what we would consider probably a cold or something along those lines. Fewer than 1% of people that were infected with the polio virus experienced those classical symptoms that we associate with the polio virus, such as complete paralysis. Such as the iron lung, or somebody losing paralysis or losing the use of a leg or an appendage. So why is that? Why are certain people that are infected with the virus have no response or no symptoms whatsoever? Their body is able to deal with it right away. And some people have complete paralysis. And that is the state of their immune system when they were infected, how well their body was able to adapt to the virus and defeat it. And that has more to do with your lifestyle and the way you lead your life than it does necessarily with your environmental factors. Now, we can't exclude the idea that there are certain pathogens and viruses that our body has a real tough time adapting to. An example of this might be malaria. A body has a hard time adapting to this bacteria, so it's important that we don't get exposed to it. It's better not to get exposed to it or to have immunity built up ahead of time than it is to just go on and try to hope your immune system can fight it off. Now, your body has a much better chance of dealing with it if it's in a stronger state, but there are certain things that your body has a hard time adapting to. A perfect example of that too is smallpox. Back with the Indians when they were exposed to smallpox, through generations, they were the European settlements had developed certain immunities to smallpox, but the Indians had virtually no immunity to the smallpox virus, and so when they were exposed, they were decimated by that. So there is a balance between strengthening your immune system and also avoiding unnecessary exposure to certain bacteria or viruses that our body has a hard time adapting to. So we come to this concept of we have information, we have sickness and disease that surrounds us. So do we wait for the crisis, or do we prevent or try to prevent or maintain a healthier lifestyle? And there was a famous poem that was written in the late 1800s called A Fence on the Hill or An Ambulance in the Valley. And the poet was talking about the idea of do we build a fence on top of the hill or the cliff, or do we put an ambulance at the bottom of the hill or the cliff? And it's this idea of do we prevent stuff from happening, or do we pick up the pieces when it does? And the author came to the conclusion that it's much better to build a fence on top of the hill than an ambulance in the valley. And I would challenge you to look at the areas in your life and see what are the areas in my life that I am just waiting for a crisis to happen before I do something. Or am I going to start taking steps today to build that fence on top of the hill instead of the ambulance in the valley? And there was a very smart man, I don't know what his name is off the top of my head, that developed the 8 dimensions of wellness. And in chiropractic, we only deal with really 2 of these areas, physical and intellectual. But there is so much more to wellness and lifestyle care than just physical and intellectual, though these parts are very, very important. Some people group the emotional and social together, but that is not accurate because your emotional state can be more internal, not based on your social environment, such as people that are depressed or have anxiety issues. In the physical realm, we like to break that down even further and put that into perspective with nutrition, structure, and function. And structure has to do with the structure of your human body, and posture, where function is more of how your body actually works. And so there's a lot to break down in those areas, and that's not my goal for this presentation today. What I want to do today is I want to inspire you to look into the different areas of your body, the different areas of your health, the different areas of wellness in your life, to try to look at your lifestyle and say, what am I doing that I can change so that I can have a healthier lifestyle today? If you have any questions on how you can go about doing that, please check out our website at McGinnisChiropracticLifestyle.com. There's some articles on there. There is some clips, some movie clips. We're recording more all the time for different topics that you can just glean some information off and be a little bit smarter on how to live a healthier lifestyle. And really, if I want to sum up the idea of sickness, it's limitations of adaptation. It's the idea that your body is amazing at adapting. It is amazing at regulating itself. It just needs the tools and the environment to do so. And a lot of times we keep beating our body up with what we eat and a lack of exercise and subluxations that evolve in our body, and we keep giving our body, so to speak, lemons and expect a higher performance vehicle out of this. We keep throwing salt in the gas machine or salt in the gas tank and expect it to operate at a high performance level. And that's not possible. We have to take care of our bodies, otherwise we will experience breakdowns. And that's when a lot of people come running in when they're in the crisis instead of looking towards what can I do now to help myself. So I hope this encourages you and not and it helps you look into your life and into your lifestyle at the different areas of your wellness, and try to pick one, at least one, and try to bring balance to it. So, like I said, if you have any questions, please check our website out. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.